Welcome back, viewers at home. You're joining me for an interesting conversation regarding all things Muslimah Today conference. And tonight I am joined by Raeesa Aboobaker, who is a homeopathic practitioner with special interest in functional medicine. She holds a master's degree in homeopathy from the Durban University of Technology and is currently pursuing a postgraduate diploma in traditional Chinese medicine via the University of Johannesburg. A mother of four, Dr. Aboobaker is passionate about women's health, dermatology, and endocrinology. She is the owner of Wellness Hub by Dr. Baker, which focuses on wellness and aesthetics and consults in Durban as well as Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining us this evening.
Jazakallah for having me on your program today.
Now, I want us to start on something that you're currently doing and you're practicing on, which is the homeopathic, as a homeopathic practitioner. I just want to find out from you, many people are quite skeptic about it. Can you talk us through why the skepticism?
I think also many people don't know what homeopathic medicine is. So homeopathic medicine is a form of complementary and alternate medicine where the theory is based on like cures like and the memory of water. It is a full 6-year master's degree that you need to get to be qualified in homeopathic medicine. You go through similar steps to conventional medicine where you study anatomy, physiology, the biology of the body, pathophysiology as well, and general pathology. So an intense 6-year degree where you understand how the human body works and what happens when it goes wrong. The difference between conventional medicine and homeopathic medicine would be that homeopaths don't practice any surgery, and also the type of medicine that is dispensed is very different. And there is tons of evidence and research and journal articles and clinical trials performed on complementary and alternate medicine, specifically homeopathic medicine, where you can go and research plentiful. And if you're not sure, you can speak to your homeopath about providing you with the evidence. Obviously, it is in South Africa. It falls under the Allied Health Professions Council of South Africa. So if you're seeing somebody who is practicing complementary and alternate medicine, make sure that they are registered with the council and that they are registered with the necessary statutory bodies, so that you are not scammed or practicing or going to somebody who doesn't have the necessary qualifications. So very simply, you can go online to the AHPCSA website and find out if the person you are seeing is registered with them. And so complementary and alternate medicine has a huge place in one's life, and in South Africa it is actually quite a big industry because we look at treating root causes and not just putting a plaster on the problem.
Interesting. Now, in terms of, our conversation and getting to know you as one of the speakers for the Muslimah Today conference, I want to find out from you, as someone who is in their 30s and have achieved so much. I mean, right now you're still pursuing your education, and you're a mom, and you are still in the, practicing in terms of, creating, or rather allowing others to achieve wellness in terms of whatever targets or goals that they may have. I want to find out from you, how did you achieve so much in so little time?
So I started young, maybe that's it. I am a mom of four, to an adult, a teenager, and two toddlers. Big age gaps, because that's the sacrifices you need to make when you want to achieve things in life. I had my first son when I was 1 year out of matric, and I had completed a BSc. He was born 6 weeks before I started my first year on homeopathic medicine. Actually, I went for my interview while I was 8 months pregnant. And the question asked by the lecturers there was, how are you going to manage with a newborn baby? So when it comes, how do you manage, and how do you have to have support systems, and you have to know where to draw the line. And in terms of support systems, that can be other people around you. It can be family members. It can be staff at work. It can be teachers at school. It can be a tutor. You need to have all hands on deck, and everybody needs to play a part in that. And the moment you start feeling like what you're doing is not worth it anymore, or it's burning you out, and you feel like, I don't enjoy this anymore, then it's time to take a step back and reevaluate how things are going. So you, as a mommy as a wife, as a daughter, a daughter-in-law, a granddaughter. There's so many people around us that we need to worry about. But you can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to fill your cup first in order to help others around you.
And in just, taking a look back in terms of where you started and, after, like, literally, as you mentioned earlier on, to say, you had your child 6 weeks before, and, even the lectures were quite concerned about it. How did you, if you did, avoid burnout?
Definitely time management was a big thing for me. It was very difficult in the first few years of university. I remember when we just passed the anatomy and the physiology, when you move on to general pathology, and when you're studying the brain and the body in its entirety, there's a lot of content and you have to understand it. You can't just memorize it. So there were times when I would have to stay up all night to study because that's when my baby was sleeping. But then in order prevent burnout, I always made sure that my health came first and that I was nutritionally up to date with my bloods, making sure that I had enough vitamin D, enough iron to keep me going, making sure my B12 was up. I did have asthma when I was younger, and it was quite severe, would end up in hospital twice a year, and it would impact on my studies. And then one day I went to see my professor at university, and I said, look, this is something that is not allowing me to fully progress in life. It's holding me back because I can't exercise, because I can't breathe. And homeopathic medicine in that light changed my life because I no longer have asthma. And it was something I had into my 20s as well. And I think it's very important to make sure that if you are somebody who has a high powered life or things are moving very fast around you, to make sure that you are on something like an adaptogen to prevent burnout. And that is how you're going to achieve everything that you want to and more, is if you make sure that your petrol tank is not just in reserve or half a tank, it needs to be a full tank for you to achieve what you'd like.
And now with that, I believe that you'll be exploring the topic beyond burnout, sustainable self-care practices for Muslim women at the conference that will be taking place Sunday, the 7th of September. I want to find out from you, why is it important for this to be, discussed thoroughly?
I think now that we're in 2025, it is of great importance for women to be able to juggle many things in life. Because now we're not only just mummies and wives and daughters and daughter-in-laws. Now we're professional women, we're academic women, we're leaders in the community, we are community builders. And in order for you to juggle all these things, our bodies were not made for this. Female bodies were made to, grow babies and cook food and be stay-at-home moms. That's the reality of it. But now things have changed and the world has evolved, and we are in the academic and professional and business world. And so it becomes very difficult for women to be able to survive through that, and juggle the components. In fact, sometimes we find women coming in with not believing that they can achieve anymore. That's when we know they're hitting burnout, because they literally have imposter syndrome. They think that they can't, what they've achieved in life is not actually the truth. They're faking it, or there's deception involved. And once we get that person believing in themselves, or we put them in an adaptogen, they can manage stress better. In this day and age, it's so many women are single moms and having to do all of that. If you have a partner, you have a support system. If you have a parent, you have a support system. And then sometimes the support system also needs to be treated for burnout. So it's a topic that I think is very, very important, because in a female body, if you are chronically stressed, it's going to affect the way you have a menstrual cycle. It's going to affect how often you have a menstrual cycle, how heavy the flow is, the rate of flow, whether you have spotting before or after. All of these things are actually related to progesterone, which gets depleted if we're very stressed out, because you need to make cortisol, you're using progesterone as an ingredient. So I think we often miss that link, that actually stress plays a huge role in our body. And you'll see a simple example is, so many of my patients will say, we had a death in the family and it was somebody really close to me. And somehow my period early. And it's that amount of stress that has caused them to now either start a bleed or miss a bleed for 6 months. So definitely an important topic when it comes to female health and female hormones.
And still on the topic of burnout, what would you say are some of the, adverse effects of, ignoring burnout or just downplaying burnout. Because as you can imagine, speaking about these women who are running homes and who feel like everything is on their back, and sometimes, yes, as you mentioned earlier on, they have their husbands, their family as support system, but they sometimes don't even reach out to seek help because they feel like, seeking help is inconveniencing others. What's your take on that?
I think definitely. So let's go to the symptoms of burnout. You could have hair loss. You could have thinning of the eyebrows. It could impact on your thyroid function. It definitely affects hormones. You could go into perimenopause early. So if you look at the time that perimenopause sets in, it's usually between 35 and 45 that a woman would go through perimenopause. But also that's a time when her kids are grown up and like going to school already, or if she's a professional or an academic, it's usually a time when you get a job promotion at work and things become a little bit more stressful. And also you kind of have like this emptiness syndrome when all of your little kids are gone, and then your body realizes it's not managing anymore. It's time that it's starting to show its illnesses and ailments. So graying hair early is a common symptom as well. Lower back pain, weakness in the waist and knees, very common when you have too much of a workload for a long time. Memory loss, insomnia, night sweats, panic attacks, weight gain, loss of muscle mass, changes in your appetite, changes in your mood, PMS symptoms. All of these are related to burnout, or can be related to burnout. When it comes to what you can do about it, self-care practices that you can try, we're going to delve in on this topic more at Muslimah Today. Yes. But there's so many things that you could do, whether it's treating it functionally. When I say functionally, I like to practice functional medicine, which is root cause medicine. Then we look at what is the root cause. Is it stress? Now, we can't always take the patient's stress away. It would be so easy if we could, but we can't. But we can help the body manage it better. And I think that's super important. So that's one way, looking at adaptogens or looking at patient-specific treatment. Often a patient will think that their cortisol is very high. And I've seen this in my practice when patients say to me, my cortisol is really high. And I'll say to them, okay, well, we need some evidence that it's high. So let's do a blood test, or let's do a saliva test, or a 24-hour cortisol test. And the blood test comes back and says, actually, the patient's cortisol is low. So they've been stressed out for such a long time that now it's depleted. The body can't make any more of the cortisol. So that patient specifically, their treatment plan is going to change. So it's important that you don't just pick up a supplement over the counter and take that. See your doctor and do your bloods and find out what's going on, and then treat the problem. Because just playing guessing games, you could have an adverse effect, and then that's going to give functional medicine or herbal medicine a bad name. Other things you can do is look at ways to boost your progesterone and feel better, eating more vitamin C in your diet, having more nuts and seeds, having spent some time with your girlfriends. That's a really good one for upliftment. And then also finding downtime, finding something that you can do that you enjoy. So when I ask my patients, what do you do for fun? If they say, I watch Netflix, that's not what you're doing for fun. That's just passing time, and maybe it's helping you a little bit with downtime, but it's not really what you need. When you do something fun, it's like coloring or painting, or like canvas painting, or doing something creative and artsy. That is actually good for burnout. So I would recommend join a painting class, join a ceramic class that you can use in your kitchen later on. So simple things like that can help you with burnout.
And in terms of the Muslimah Today 2025, what is Dr. Aboobaker mostly looking forward to? And I believe that today is, or rather tomorrow, is the last day where tickets will be sold. Can you tell us more on where can individuals get their tickets, inshallah?
So you can purchase the tickets online at ilmsa.co.za. You can go to the website and you can select a Muslimah Today, and you can purchase tickets for 325 Rand online. I am most looking forward to two things. The speakers that there are this year are incredible. Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, Hanan Kanan from Gaza, Naima Roberts, Farzana Adam, and Ruqayya Park. I'm really looking forward to listening to Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman and how to be a better humanitarian. Through COVID and through the floods and the riots in KZN, we all tried to be that humanitarian, but who better can we learn from than somebody who has so many years behind him? And in terms of ticket sales, the easiest way is going to be via the website. So www.ilmsa.co.za and click on Muslimah Today 2025 and you'll be able to purchase the tickets there. I will also be putting the link on my Instagram stories today and tomorrow as ticket sales close tomorrow.
Inshallah, and we're praying that everybody, inshallah, makes it to the event and gets themselves a ticket. But Dr. Jazakallah so much for joining us. But is there anything that you would like to share before we close off our conversation?
I am hoping to see at least a full. I have high expectations for Muslimah Today. I'm expecting to see 500 women there. I would be very happy if there was at least 300. I'm looking forward to socializing and intermingling and meeting new people in my life and definitely making new friends. So if you would like to attend the Muslimah Today, please come up and make a conversation, speak to each other during lunchtime, and take it as an opportunity to, instead of motivating each other, let's inspire each other.
Doctor, once again, Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Jazakallah for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Viewers at home, that was Dr. Raeesa Aboobaker, who is one of the speakers, and one thing that she will be enlightening the audience about is all things beyond burnout, sustainable self-care practices for Muslim women. Certainly that will be taking place Sunday, the 7th of September. So make sure that you use this short period of time to secure yourself a seat to attend and be, addressed by great speakers who are lined up for this conference. But for now, let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.
Sisterhood, inspiration, motivation, spiritual upliftment. It's time for Muslimah Today, the 12th annual Women's Conference brought to you by the Institute for Learning and Motivation for Women. Join us on Sunday, the 7th of September, 2025 at the NMJ Islamic Center in Morningside, Durban. Be inspired by international and local speakers, including Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, Dr. Raeesa Aboobaker, Hanan Kanan, Naima B. Robert, Muallima Fazana Adam, and Ruqayya Parak. Together, we'll journey through lessons of hope, resilience, and spiritual growth. Tickets are 300 Rand, including lunch, refreshments, and of course, a goodie bag. Hurry up, sales close soon, on Wednesday, the 3rd of September. Book now at www.ilmsa.co.za/MT2025. Muslimah Today, a day of unity, knowledge, and upliftment for every woman.